name's Jihoon. Actually, I want to answer two things. There is a co-presenter. I was scheduled when I started this project. My co-worker, as you can see, Dominic Dusako. But unfortunately, he's in trouble right now. Not to trouble. So he's visiting his parents in Europe, one of the European country right now. So he cannot attend right now. So again, both of us are software developer at the Teaching and Learning Technology at the University of Utah, and little bit background of why I choose this topic. Everybody has announced from the Instructure a couple of months ago. They recommended submit some presentation topic. So we are looking for what kind of a project, as a software developer, what kind of project we can do in a short amount of time to show you guys at least get us some idea and feasible solution. So we look into Canvas community, and then we found out really interestingly, search is nowadays in every software is a default function. But unfortunately, Canvas doesn't provide it yet. So as you can see, there's 2 years ago, Tracy Ann Wheeler proposed this idea, and then so far almost 200 people, probably 200 institutions vote to have this function. So we thought this might be a great topic. It's project idea, but within limited time. We are a little bit nervous like how do we make it work? So, as Natalie said, I'm really interested in fixing my home, and my coworker just purchased a little bit old home, he's working on a lot of his own project to fix and modify his home. So. Okay, that's actually the next thing I should have mentioned. But so as you can see, the left portion is the traditional, current Canvas interface. So we thought this is just simply mock-up. Obviously, for search function, there should be search box that should be available in Canvas interface, and also we're hoping there's in a course like in how student. What kind of terms the student looking for in the course, and also what's the key terms in a course level. So this is how we imagine Canvas search function, mainly interface-wise. So how do we build this? As you guys see, this is I didn't see the old episode about home improvement TV show. So I searched some popular quote, and then a team said to this old gentleman, Wilson. Yeah, is that right? Okay. So he's asking, "What are you doing?" And then Wilson says, "I'm just building a canoe." And then the team says, "It sounds tough, and there sounds a lot of things going on." And then Wilson says, "No, not really. Just take out something else, and then just leave as is." Just leave only the canoe piece. Sounds simple. So we, based on this idea, we approached, because both Dominic and I, we working mainly Java language platform, Java language, and recently we started a lot of projects with Node.js and the Express framework. So in order to save our time, so we try to utilize this one, and just 1 second. We researched about a lot of available search engine in the market, and then we ended up the elasticsearch. Probably a lot of people heard about that. And it's the first. It's written. Elasticsearch is common open source, by the way, and also it's under Apache. License version 2, which freely available. We can update, we can modify, and then we can also commercialize too. So we decided that this elasticsearch might be the really great solution we can utilize. So this is just basic idea about how do we build this project. So a lot of people already know about the Canvas API. So since this is not going to be built in the Canvas app, so we have to rely on Canvas API, pretty much. So for testing for this experimental project, we pick a really course-rich, content-rich course from one of our past semester. And we pull a lot of, most of the course content from that course through, via API, and then a little bit transform the data into which elasticsearch can understand. And then we designed this really simple web interface to display search result. So instead of explaining all background, let me jump on my actual program. I'm going to show how it works. All right, this is the University of Utah Psychology 2010 online course for semester 2016. It was a real course, and I recommended this course by one of our Instructure designer. And as you can see, there's a lot of, it's not a ton of, but a lot of pages and discussion. And announcements too. So technically, we can put all this content into elasticsearch, which is the search engine. But for this experimental project, I just pick up the announcement, discussion, and also pages too. Those three objects only. So, is it fancy? No, just kidding. So this is as you can see, this URL bar is running from my local computer. This is just a simple web interface. Let's try out something. So, can you guys see there's some text? Is it okay? So let me pick up this is an announcement. So the instructor using a lot of announcements with the housekeeping. So let me try it out. So yeah, I'm not really good at the interface and the styling thing. So we just do mainly display the content or text information for you. So the blue text line is the title of each either pages. For example, first one is the page, and week 11 lecture, school psychology backup, and there must be, let me see, discussion. Yeah, there's a discussion, housekeeping, October 31st, 16, and yeah, this is how we ended up our search with this course content. So let me just try a couple more different search first. For example, let me jump on the discussion. So yeah, okay, let me explain a little bit about this interface. So one of the nice features with the elasticsearch, based on this search term, since elasticsearch know about in search engine, just for information, they using indexing as how to organize the all information and then get ready to return the search result. So elasticsearch already indexed a lot of text information, term information, and then as you can see, this related term means that based on the housekeeping term, these following terms are somewhat related in the same document and the same the Canvas object. So I can do, if I click the announcement, so it search another, it tried another search with the announcement, and pretty much the return result is the same. The object title, and then this is the sample. I mean, the where this key term, search term is appear in that content. And the bottom one is mainly for my information. It tells the what kind of Canvas course object, and then this is score thing. Maybe some of you are interesting. This is the how calculate elasticsearch between search keyword and the actual document. So this I'm just using the default calculation method. So, but there is a lot of way I can improve or I can tweak this search to make a better search result. And this is this project is I just indexed only one single course, but internally I made it some meaningful ID. The first portion is the Canvas course ID. And the second one is if this is the page, then this is the page ID in Canvas. So this ID can be used later on to add additional information to improve this interface. So yeah, of course let me try research. So hopefully spelling is right. So yeah, again, about this course, and then based on two terms, it displays like where the keywords is appear. So, okay, let me just do a little tweak. So I wish we can have it like this, like a canvas, and then right next to there's a space right there, right? So we have a nice interface. We can search anywhere in Canvas. So yeah, this is how we developed. And let me jump back to the slide. So why we choose the Elasticsearch. Again, one of the big things is that this is open source, like a Canvas, and there's a GitHub repository we can everybody can access and see how they build. And for your information, this is written by Java, which is my favorite language, and also everybody familiar with the Canvas API, right? Okay, so. Really nice feature of this Elasticsearch is that really you guys can if we started with this project, this solution, API is really similar. Of course, API is the kind of a universal protocol, but this Elasticsearch API is very similar with the Canvas, and they're very straightforward. So, and also. All communication, like indexing, which is that keep the text information in Elasticsearch, and then even ask Elasticsearch to return some result, which is the search query, is also translate as a JSON format. JSON is the Java. Let me try simple object notation. Is that right? JavaScript object notation, which is the basically text information is basically the same format when you do a Canvas API calls. So every information returned by Canvas is the JSON data format. So mainly key, which is some meaning, and then the value. So let me introduce some background of the Elasticsearch. So again. Let me explain one more time about how the key feature of the Elasticsearch. So in elasticsearch, it uses a lot of index term internally. So as a noun, an index means the kind of a repository which contains the all text information. As a verb means the put the data into that the repository, which is the index. And internally, indexing method in elasticsearch is the inverted index. Quickly, when first the document is indexed, the elasticsearch parse every single term and then list out a long list, and then keep that information. These terms are appear of index 1 and the document 1. When second document is indexed the elasticsearch, and it's doing same thing, list out all available terms, and then if there is a duplication with another document, it just mark over here. So when we search like in Brown, let's say based on these two documentation, when we search like a Fox, of course it will reference the document 1, it will return document 1. But if we search the Brown, it will return the document 1 and 2. But if there's multiple terms, it internally calculates this, which you guys just saw the score, again, how relevant based on the search keyword. So this is a little, it's not super complicated, but it's a little, takes time to explain how scoring works. And also, there's a lot of room to customize that, and also to make it a better search result. So, okay, let me jump into the little bit code likely information. So this is the how put the documents into the elasticsearch. So as you can see, put means the keep this following information into elasticsearch. And then the first, the canvas means the name of the repository, the index name. And then second, page is the type of that document information. And then I just decided the course ID dash with whatever course, the canvas object ID. With those combination, we can update it whenever the content is updated. I can keep re-index based on those same ID. So with this simple project, I just put the title from the canvas course object and body. And since the canvas page, for example, has a lot of the HTML tag inside it, so I have the pre-process to take out the all HTML tag, and then that way we can minimize that information kept in the elasticsearch, and also improve the search result. So after that, those two, title and body is the I guess the key information, and then there's a so regarding this data format, there's no schema, means there's no predefined format, so you can do whatever you want. You can add any metadata. Again, for example, this page, my intention is some unpublished page. We don't want to show this unpublished page to the student if a student search this page, right? So I put that the search result as the Boolean value, and then update that as the timestamp information. So again, there's no structure or format, so you can do whatever you want. You can keep that, you can index whatever you want. So now searching. So this might be a little weird. This is how it internally works in Canvas, elasticsearch. So Canvas, as you can see, the API command get means bring some information to me. And the canvas is the repository, again, the index name. And then the underscore search is the actual command. So now, but instead of the simple passing simple keyword to the elasticsearch, since elasticsearch provides a lot of enhancement when we search something, so it decided to accept the JSON document as the search query. So first portion, query means the, with this example, we want to query psychology and research those two terms, multiple match with document, field in a document like either title or body. And also the second filter means, like, for example, the published property that I just mentioned with the previous index document. So we can, by passing filtering option, we can get the result only published page or unpublished page or something like that. And also the aggregation means with search query, this is actually when my example web interface, there's a related terms. I showed the first like a couple of related terms based on search keyword. So the really good thing with the elasticsearch, when we do query, we can, on top of the matching document, we can aggregate some additional information. And then there's actually this is a really complicated method to search with the elasticsearch. You can do like without the filter, we can really simple queries even without this, like just passing this query, these terms with this filter, without this fields, without filter, without aggregation. It will still return the basic search result, but elasticsearch provided a lot of options, a lot of functions we can modify the search result. All right, on top of elasticsearch, it provides an additional plugin, some additional feature. I forgot to show you another feature, but let me jump in the back. So, so there's a couple of plugin on top of the elasticsearch. Security means without this plugin, even though this is, right now elasticsearch is running in my local computer, but there's no whoever can access my computer actually see the all index data, and then it can access the whole admin interface. But by installing this security plugin, really simple, really easy way, easily I can add the user authentication, authorization, and also data encryption too. And also, there are additional plugins are monitoring how this search engine perform with the server environment, and also reporting. Watcher means that by specifying some rules, if the server has in critical condition or something goes wrong, it will send it back to the admin to asking some following action. And also, I haven't implemented yet, but there's a machine learning package with the elasticsearch, which mainly with the Logstats. Logstats is another product under the Elastic company. Basically, Logstats is the product to collect and analyze a lot of log data. So this combination of the machine learning and machine learning plugin and Logstats product, we can see it can detect without any programming, without any technical knowledge. It can find out some weird pattern, weird abnormality based on the data. So, okay, this is not my example, but because I don't have enough data, but this is the one example of how machine learning elasticsearch plugin works. It is based on a bunch of data. It analyzes, and then right there, the little dot, it has the it indicates out of a regular pattern. So I'm not sure how I can utilize it with this search engine yet, actually, but it might be some useful for local parsing project. So, and there's another product. Yeah, there's so many products coming up. So this is under the same company. The name is the Kibana. So when we developed this project, let me jump in there. So this is the Kibana interface. What it does is basically is a helpful tool to work with the elasticsearch. So the discover means basically you can search out without any programming. You can search. Of course, you need to understand how to do search. But using this search box, you can actually search a lot of things. And visualization tool based on your, I tried a simple thing with current data. I have this many pages, discussion topics, and announcement. You can display based on your data, and also dashboard by generating some dashboard interface. You can monitoring or look into your index server. And this is what I just mentioned. There's a machine learning plugin, but I didn't have much time to do that. And this is another nice feature with the API. I can generate the API calls with this interface, and I can see how exactly elasticsearch return to the search result. So probably a lot of people, when you guys working with the Canvas API, one of my favorite tools is the Postman, which is the API client tool. So this is the delivery is exact the same environment too. There's a monitoring tool. I haven't set up yet, but it basically says how the index server is running, and yeah, by installing this plugin, I have a login, logout, authorization, authentication feature already in there. So this is the Kibana platform on top of the elasticsearch. All right. Well, actually, even though we submitted this proposal, I have to mention one thing. As you guys see, the presentation topic is the search bot, some kind of robot thing, which might be very interactive. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it that way because even though I submitted the proposal like a couple of months ago, Jihoon, my coworker, and then we keep thinking about how we implement, but the actual implementation period is only 2 weeks actually. Just 2 weeks before, we just started first week as the little background, the Java script, and then just week before, we built that web search interface based on the Node.js. And Kibana, as I just mentioned, this is elasticsearch helper tool. And the right side, the reason we can do this quickly is the Elasticsearch team, the company already provides a lot of very helpful tool library for this Java and JavaScript, Ruby, .NET, PHP, Python, most importantly, the Ruby on Rails for Instructure. So mainly whoever wants to develop the Elasticsearch, we just need to have the web interface module only. And the bottom portion is the available the plugin that I just mentioned before. All right, this is, as I said, this is a really experimental project, but what we learned so far and then what we can consider with this Elasticsearch tool is the first thing is the filtering. So right now I don't have a filtering option yet, but of course based on Canvas' usual role, we need to differentiate the return result, search result. And the second UI, UX, of course, I just showed my own separate interface, but either this can be the LTI tool, but still probably it's not the best scenario because you just have to select the LTI tool and move into the LTI interface, which means the user actually navigated away from the wherever user was before. So might be some other approach to really nicely display this search function on top of the Canvas interface. And the third thing is the machine learning. So this is my personal interest recently. Just for information, Google, the huge search engine company, right now, using their, they take care of that almost 15 or 20% of the users' search keyword based on the machine learning technology, which means they never indexed before. For example, if I typed some weird term and Google guess even though Google doesn't understand the user's keyword, Google tried to best to return some search result. But if a user selected some related document or keep trying to multiple times, and Google keep the all record, and then eventually it defines some relationship. Oh, this keyword means this means more common term. For example, one particular example is the H1N1 is some flu symbol, right? So Google initially doesn't understand what they mean, but with the machine learning technology, it eventually understands, as a user type the H1N1, it understands, oh, this is another flu symptom, and then return the appropriate search result. So this is my personal, and probably since Canvas is a learning management platform and then it's supposed to be smart, so this is my suggestion, it should be apply this kind of a new technology. And for real question, even though this first impression might be simple enough, but Elasticsearch engine is it has a really, basically it's designed as a distributed environment, which means that we can decide how many replication and how many small chunk of index data is spread out over the server environment. For example, like Amazon Cloud environment. So it's not an easy job. There must be, 5 minutes? Okay. There must be some special people, engineers should be involved to index a lot, for example, like a huge Canvas course content. And again, regarding the cloud, the Elasticsearch company name is Elastic. They provide, like a Canvas, they provided their own cloud environment, so the user doesn't need to get any headache to have a setup or configure their Elasticsearch server environment. So the bottom, there is an atomic jolt, which is okay, this is my suggestion. If you don't want to build or get a headache with this all customization, all do it yourself the project, there is a little bit similar product available from the Atomic Jolt. I believe there's people from Atomic Jolt. Yeah. So Justin, can you just briefly tell about your product, just quickly?
So we have search for Canvas. I don't want to hijack it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have more questions, come find me.
Yeah. I had the introduction with the product. Search function is the part of the curriculum tool, right? Yeah. So there's an additional bunch of the feature to enhance your Canvas experience. All right, this is how we got so far. So any question about that or suggestion? And also, one thing, I was trying to get a hold of the Instructure engineer or product manager about this search function. As you can see, this search feature is their product later, but I didn't have any clear answer when on how far this Instructure is working on this product. If there's any Instructure people over here and have some idea, please let me know, let us know. All right, thank you.